Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ask Mevo Anything. I am Joseph Capehart. I'm the Senior Technical Specialist here at Mevo, and I am excited for another show. Unfortunately, I was hoping Will is going to be able to join me today. For those who are returning viewers, we usually do these shows together on Thursdays. Unfortunately, the world just did not want that to happen. We tried all morning to get it to happen, but maybe next week. So if you're looking for Will, that's going to be another show. However, for today's show, I'm using a single Mevo Start. This is running on Wi-Fi. Completely wireless, and then the Blue Yeti Nano microphone for my audio, which is going to the back of the Mevo Start for a 3.5 millimeter input on the back of there. Of course, I could eliminate this entirely and use the fantastic 3 microphone array on the top of the Mevo Start, but we really like this microphone from Blue, so we definitely try to take advantage, especially with the rain going on right now. It does some audio elimination, does pretty good stuff. So for this show, I'm going to use the Mevo 2.0 app. I'm going to be using overlays. So for the overlays that you're seeing here, I've got the lower third. I also have, let's just go ahead and pull this up and talk about it. I have an over the shoulder, and then you've seen the countdown at the beginning of the show. These are all done in the Mevo 2.0 app, and you can accomplish that using Vimeo Producer or a Vimeo Premium plan. But I'm controlling all of this by myself, all within my phone. And then for my laptop, I'm actually going to be using it specifically to monitor your chat. It makes it easier so I don't miss any questions. Will's also in there monitoring the chat to make sure I don't miss any questions. So if you do have any questions, be sure to put those in the chat below, and I'd be happy to answer those live the best that I can. If you have any technical questions, Joseph is in tickets right now, and we will be in tickets once the show is over. So if you have technical questions and need technical assistance, go to help.mevo.com, open up a ticket, and we'd be more than happy to help you there. I am broadcasting both to Facebook and YouTube. I'm using Vimeo to accomplish this, and if you were unaware, you actually can stream to Vimeo and use Vimeo's resources for a mere $15 a month to have them broadcast to all the destinations that you want, up to 10 destinations. Now let's talk about this over-the-shoulder overlay I have going on over here. It looks like we are currently running a discount, a sale, right? And it's good in the US, and it's going to be good until the 9th of next month. So currently you can save $20 on the Mevo Start, and you can save $20 on the PoE adapter. That's awesome. So let's just go ahead and make that bigger, right? So this is good in the US only, ends next month on the 9th. You save 20 on both units, which is fantastic. Both of these are available on mivo.com, so if you want to take advantage of those, you have to go to mivo.com. You won't find these sales on Amazon or anything like that. So direct sales only, you're going to get these discounts. So if that's the goal, go check it out today. Make sure you take advantage of it before the discount expires. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm just going to go ahead and check if we have any questions, because it looked like as soon as I started the stream, questions were already getting blasted in there, and it looks like that is exactly the case. So fantastic. I love the interaction. Today's all about answering questions. So please, the more questions, the better and more smooth this show is going to go. And it's the best part of these shows anyways, is interacting with the users. So Shriek says, when will the Mevo 4K cam get an update, a new edition? Because it's all Start now, but I don't need 1080. But I need a 4 to 6 or even an 8K would be awesome for your streaming setup. That's a great question, Shariq. So the thing about the Mevo Plus, the Mevo Start actually is not just a new addition, it's actually replacing the Mevo Plus. So if we ever did come out with a new camera that was 4K or even 6 or 8K, it would not be an upgrade from the Mevo Plus. I mean, it would be an upgrade, but it would be a new unit entirely. Now, one thing you do have to understand is that when it comes to streaming, most people are not watching on a 4K, 6K, or even 8K enabled device. So not only will, your quality would look pretty solid. However, if somebody's not watching it on there, then it kind of makes it kind of pointless to stream at that quality, right? Now, of course, some people do have 4K televisions, of course, but majority of viewers, if I had to guess a statistic, I would probably say 95 to 98% of viewers are actually using a 1080, or most of them are probably even using mobile devices and watching it in 720, and probably not even taking advantage of 1080. So really not a priority right now is getting that out, a live streaming camera that enables that. We would love to eventually, of course, but right now the viewership's just not there. You really kind of, it's taking a lot more expensive hardware, a lot more expensive equipment to accomplish the same thing when the viewers aren't really getting much benefit out of it. Anna says, lost connection with Mevo Start 5 or 6 times every time going to Facebook Live and problems with audio. How can I do audio elimination? Okay, so you can do audio processing. We have general, music, and speech, and then wind. So if you're having audio issues that's specifically isolating the audio away from some noise, or if you're trying to make sure you're not capturing noise behind the camera or from the sides of the camera, you can definitely modify the advanced audio settings in the Mevo app. Now, if you are getting disconnects and things like that from Facebook, a little bit more information would definitely be useful. Specifically, are you getting errors? What errors are you seeing? Are you playing copyrighted music? We had a post about that today on our customer group. Talking about copyrighted music. Things like Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, they will disconnect you without warning if you have copyrighted music and you do not have the rights to use it. So if that's the case, you probably won't get an error. It's probably just going to disconnect you. Now, if you're getting other types of errors, then definitely something you might want to open a ticket at help.mevo.com, and we can help look into that for you or with you. So if you are having issues, definitely open a ticket. However, there are many ways or reasons why a stream may end abruptly, and copywriting music is one that you will not even get a warning for. It'll just straight disconnect you. Yeah, so definitely open a ticket if you are having continued issues. If you're not getting warnings, definitely see if you're using music. Try to eliminate using music that you don't own. Lionel says, how can I adjust camera settings for face recognition and the other features in the multicam app, like when we can do in the single app? Thanks for the question, Lionel. So the new versions coming out for multicam will be able to do this. I know Will kind of demonstrates this every Wednesday in his live show he does with the multicam beta group. And when 1.0 comes out, that's going to be completely available to you. It's going to be graphics, what other things? We got overlays, we've got, I don't even remember. There's tons. Cropping, live editing, all of those things will be available. I'm not sure if face recognition is yet available in the 1.0, but I do know cropping, live editing, and graphics are all introduced into that. But just kind of follow the beta along. You know, as soon as it's released, you'll know, and go from there. Hopefully it'll be released sooner than later. That's more Will's wheelhouse. He knows a lot more about it than I do. However, I try to keep as caught up as I can. I do a lot of testing for it, but each version, we get a lot of internal versions that we test, so I kind of lose track between what's public, what's not public. But it's coming, I promise. All right, let's see here. Smyrno says, when are you going to do low light tests with the Mevo? Is Mevo thinking of releasing software where we can purchase and use the crop capabilities with any camera, such as a phone, tablet, or maybe a remote app that enables us to do the live cropping on any camera? I think it's a great app idea, and I completely agree. I think that would be amazing. I've heard discussions of it. You know, this was years ago. I haven't heard it come up since. I mean, I would love it. I'm sure you obviously would like it. A lot of users would probably love it. I think it's probably something that probably will get revisited. Unfortunately, I'm not part of every conversation that happens at Mevo, so I don't really get told exactly what's going to happen until it actually happens. So heck, it could already be in the works, and I just am unaware of it. I think it's a great idea. I absolutely think so. As far as doing low light tests with the Mevo, I guess I would need some clarification. We absolutely do low light tests with all of our cameras. With the different sensors and, you know, different abilities, but with any camera, the Mevo absolutely loves light. I've got lights all around me right now. So with any production, you're going to benefit from having lights. I guess the question we need a little bit more clarification on what you mean when we're going to do the tests. But if you're asking like which camera does the best low light, I would obviously the Mevo Start has the best low light compared to the Mevo Plus or Mevo First Gen. The Mevo Start absolutely has a better low light performance, and we test all of this stuff obviously well before release. So, and then of course we always do quality checks, and we kind of do image adjustments, which is in the app. And we try to make it as best as possible and improve it and stuff like that. I don't think any Mevo has ever been released and just completely ignored for years. We've always releasing updates when it comes to image quality and things like that. We're trying to improve it the best that we can. But of course, hardware is kind of, you can only push it so much, right? Whether you have a software update, you're still limited by the hardware within the camera. So if we can improve it via software update, we're gonna do our best to do so. Sean says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sean. I'm trying to figure out how to switch to the Mevo Start while using FaceTime on my MacBook. Is it possible? So far, I can't seem to get it to work right. Unfortunately, the Mevo camera does not work with FaceTime. Maybe something that could be revisited. The method that the Mevo camera is used, whether you're using wireless, that's considered a virtual camera, and then when you're using via USB, it's UVC. So the ways that it's being used kind of limits the software that will recognize it. I know, for example, Microsoft Teams was one that kind of took a step back when it came to virtual cameras, whereas Zoom went a step forward and started accepting virtual cameras after like April of last year. So specific applications may or may not like virtual cameras and how that they're implemented, but this is the way that the Mevo works, is that it's seen as a virtual camera. Jeremy says, we have a Mevo Plus streamed to multiple destinations. At times it kicks us off, and one day we didn't get to stream at all. Sorry to hear that, Jeremy. Definitely not the experience we want users to have. I did answer a question a little bit earlier kind of about this. There's a lot of things that could kick you off, whether you're streaming copyrighted music, copyrighted content. It doesn't even have to be music. You could be streaming copyrighted content, like if you're trying to stream, a television or something. Anything on copyrighted material is going to get you booted without any warning whatsoever. So even if you're not the one streaming the music, if your audio captures music in the background, for example, I've even seen situations where someone didn't want to be recorded and they started playing music on their phone, and immediately Facebook, whatever it might be, if you recorded it through like an Instagram app or something, it's going to mute it. And sometimes it's going to stop your stream. Sometimes it's going to delete the media altogether. So if that might be the case for you, there's also other reasons. Your upload speed could not be sufficient. If you don't have a good enough upload speed, then you're probably going to disconnect. If you're running via Wi-Fi, your Wi-Fi could have intermittent issues. You could have some rules and regulations within the network configured that kind of kick you off. There's a lot of different things that play a part in why a device may disconnect midstream. So if you continue to have these issues, open up a ticket, help.mevo.com, and we'd be happy to kind of dig and do troubleshooting and try to do process of elimination with you. But if you do open a ticket, make sure you provide as much information, firmware version, app version, specifically destinations you were streaming to. Was there music? Was it copyrighted music? Anything you can provide is going to help our our agents assist you the best. Alex says, true, while most people would not watch streams in 4K, the allure of Plus with it being 4K is that you can compose several different 1080p shots from one camera. The digital zoom static shots are not 1080. No, absolutely. So the digital zooms and the static shots, like we said, they're not 1080. They are definitely smaller shots. So basically this is a digital zoom, but it doesn't mean just because a 4K is available that the shot you select is 1080. There are definitely different settings available that would eliminate this from being the case. And then even with the Mevo Start, if you select a shot in the Mevo Start and you select a shot in the Mevo Plus and you put those side by side with the same zoom options, you're going to see a better image with the Mevo Start. A lot of people get caught up in the specs of 4K 1080p. With the zoom, it's going to be eliminated. The 1080, regardless, the Start is performing better than the Plus, if not equal at the very least when zooming in on a picture. So I get the 4K 1080, spec-wise makes sense, but the sensors are simply not the same. The lenses are not the same. You really kind of can't compare the older 4K sensor and lens compared to the newer hardware that's in the Start. Regardless, 1080, 4K, unfortunately, not all resolutions are created equal. Butch says, is there a way to not show the wide shot? Butch, I'm telling you, this is a recommendation I've heard dozens of times, and I've not had the conversation with the developers, unfortunately, of why this is, because they're extremely busy with the things that they are working on. But I can guarantee you that the conversation will be had as soon as one of them or a team of them is freed up, because I completely agree. If some users don't want to use the wide shot, there's no reason for it to be a shot selection. So sorry, I'm going to continue with your question. The wide shot at our baseball game is way too wide. I can't figure out how to stick only with my created shots. Yeah, unfortunately, you just can't. There's always going to be a wide shot, and if you're using autopilot, it's always going to rotate and include that wide shot in there. But I would absolutely love to see the wide shot eliminated for those using autopilot. But if you don't want to use the wide shot, you can turn off autopilot, of course, and go manual with it. However, if you're using autopilot, there's no way to eliminate the wide shot from the selection of shots. At this time, eventually that may be something that we would like to do. I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure what all that entails in making it happen. But like I said, right now our team's really busy doing other things. So as soon as they get freed up, I'm telling you, that's definitely a conversation us at the customer experience team is going to have with them, because I agree. Another top suggestion that I had right before the show started was someone said, why can't we mute the audio without going into audio settings? Why isn't that on the main screen? Another thing I would like to see changed in the UI. So thank you for the feedback. Definitely makes things great when it comes to trying to make changes in the app. And if you're not part of our beta programs right now and you have feedback like this you would like to give, definitely join our beta programs. That's the time to get those things heard and changed before public release, because once things are released, things are a little bit more difficult to kind of backtrack and prioritize those settings that have already not set in stone, but you got to find the resources right to kind of go back and change things. So if you want your voice heard and you want things changed, the betas are the best time to get that done. Zachary on YouTube says, is there a plan for a 4K NDI HX2 capable Mevo unit? That's a great question, Zachary. Unfortunately, I am not here today to provide any kind of release information. If we do have any announcements like this, they would be on all of our social channels. We would definitely broadcast it, but I promise you would see an announcement on our social channels prior to those broadcasts. I'm not gonna jump on one of these live shows randomly and just be like, this just in. It's gonna be planned out. So if there's gonna be an announcement of a new product or a new app or something like that, you will hear about it on these shows, but you would absolutely see content leading up to a show with an announcement like that. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all of those things at Mevo Camera on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and you will absolutely be notified, and you'll absolutely see it in the title, I'm sure, that a big announcement's coming. So thanks for the question. It's actually a question we get quite often, so it's great to be able to let people know this is how you get informed, and I promise if you watch all of our shows, which I hope that you do, you won't miss an announcement. Guarantee it. Eduardo says, I have wanted to write here for some time. Well, I'm glad that you finally did. I have two Mevo Plus, and I noticed that the image of the two was never the same. One looks more out of focus than the other. Does anyone have the same problem? Even with factory reset settings, the problem remains. That's definitely a great question, Eduardo. We would love to see the images side by side. One thing that I recommend when people are comparing images, make sure you're not comparing the image from here. Make sure you're comparing it in identical scenarios. So put the camera side by side. That way they have identical lighting, that they are shooting the exact same subjects. Make sure that the image settings are the exact same. Make sure that they're connected the same. And make sure that at the end of the day, you're comparing the stream quality, because this quality is not full quality. The bit rate is significantly lowered, and you will not get a full quality image in the preview. It's simply there for preview to allow you to live edit. So if you want to see a full quality and you're trying to adjust and make sure that all of this is good to go, and you're trying to compare one or the other, make sure that everything's equal and you're checking the stream quality. Sean says, we'll be working on some video recordings for real estate this weekend. We'll keep you guys posted. Thanks. Thank you so much, Sean. We appreciate it. And hopefully make sure, and this goes for anyone, if you want us to see your content, hashtag Mevo Camera. Our marketing team's always looking, and I promise those are always things that we're sharing. I seen someone share something in the customer group the other day. It was himself and his son, and I believe he actually had another son in the shot, if I remember correctly. And they were doing video games. They had three multi-cam setup, a 3-camera setup, and they had a camera for each kid. And it was great. I'm telling you, we all commented and loved it in our internal chat, so I promise we see those things. We would love to share those things. So if you have content you want us to see, hashtag Mevo Camera, and trust me, we do watch those things, I promise. Elizabeth says, can we use Pro Presenter 6 with the Mevo Camera? I am not familiar with Pro Presenter 6. I do believe it's something people use for overlays, but yes, it is compatible. I personally have not done it, but yes, you can absolutely use it with Pro Presenter and webcam mode. So yeah, definitely check that out. And apparently it also accepts NDI. So there's two different ways right there you can connect. John says, what's your favorite Mevo feature? That is a great question, and it's a very tough question. I've had this probably asked a couple other times, and I don't know. I think because I've been a user of the Mevo Camera before I worked here back in 2017, if I had to say and I had to pick, I would say NDI, and this is why. For those who are new to the Mevo family, since this time last year, NDI was never available for the Mevo Plus. It still is not, the Mevo first gen as well. The Mevo Start's the first camera that allowed NDI, and now webcam mode for Plus and first gen. But it's the first time that we've been able to use Mevo cameras outside of Livestream Studio. You've never been able to use it with OBS. You never, like Pro Presenter, when it comes to Ecamm, Wirecast, all of those things. You were never able to use your Mevo with those other third-party platforms. And as soon as Mevo and the team at Mevo released NDI and then following up with webcam mode for the previous generations, as soon as that was a capability, I'm a big OBS fan, love Streamlabs OBS in general. As soon as I could use my Mevo with those platforms, I was in love. So if I had to guess, that's probably the one I would fall back on, simply because I know how restrictive it was previously, and now it's not. Now it's, free game. Use your Mevo with whatever system that you've got going on for you, as long as it accepts RTMP, NDI, webcam mode, whatever it might be. Maddie says, I stream softball games and sometimes I have connection issues. Should I get a 5G phone? Will that help? Well, Maddie, I actually have a great slide here. Let me see if I can find it. It kind of explains to you why that might be happening. Let's go back. No, let's see here. I'm seeing if I can find it. I'm running this thing by myself. Oh, here we go. Perfect. All right. So when it comes to using the Mevo hotspot, so Mevo hotspot, for those who may not know, is a configuration that allows you to use your mobile device's data and stream directly to the internet using your mobile device. You don't need Ethernet, you don't need a local network, you just use the Mevo hotspot. Now the Mevo hotspot is a network that the Mevo creates. You connect your phone to it, and then the phone actually, I guess for lack of better term, siphons the data from your phone. And the best thing about this is that your mobile provider typically is not going to throttle this from happening. Now, if you use your phone's built-in hotspot mode, your mobile provider usually throttles this. So ensure you're using Mevo hotspot and you're not using your phone's hotspot. One typically gets throttled more than the other, and a lot of them get data capped. So when you use the Mevo hotspot, you're not going to run into these issues. Now, the difference between 4G and 5G. Of course, you're going to see some speed increases if you have a 5G phone, but you also have to understand that regardless if you have a 5G phone, if you're not getting 5G signal in that area, then it's really not going to make a difference. Now, something else to consider is when you're having these issues, are you doing speed tests? And let's talk about what a speed test actually consists of. Let me go over here a little bit. We've got some stuff. Perfect. Okay. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this, and then we talk about speed tests in one of these bullets here, upload speeds. Make sure your upload speeds are good, whether you are a 5G user, 4G user, 3G user. All of those are going to be able to provide the speed that you need. Now, the difference may be is the upload speed. The upload speed is going to change based on your geographic location, how many people are using your provider in that location, and then how many towers are nearby, and then even go a step further. And your service provider may actually provide priority to some users based on when they connected, their data plans. There's a lot of things that go into using your mobile device's hotspot, or the data at least. So that's definitely something you have to take in consideration. Lots of variables, definitely not something I highly recommend. If you're looking for the most stable streams and you can get away from using the hotspot, I would do it, because mobile data is simply not as reliable as a local network that you can control. You basically leave a lot up to your mobile provider. They're in control of a lot more than you when it comes to this. So at the end of the day, the question is, should you go to a 5G phone? No, I don't think that's the solution. You can save your money there. I think most likely what you need to do is check your speed, do a speed test. Go to google.com, type in speed test, or go to speedtest.net on your phone. When you're at the location you want to use, go there, check your upload speed. See if you're getting sufficient speeds for where you're trying to upload. And if you're not, maybe you should lower your resolution based on your upload speed. If you can't even stream at the lowest resolution, that's where I would recommend just recording. Some locations simply aren't going to provide you the speed. And another thing to note is, simply because you're going to the same location that you've gone to many times before, the performance of your mobile provider may be different. There may be more people on it than there were last time. Your mobile provider may be bottlenecking or throttling the speeds of the tower or your device. So you need to do these speed tests every time you plan to use your mobile device. I recommend, even if you're on Ethernet, to do a speed test. It really comes down to kind of just preparation. You really need to make sure that you're testing. You can't test enough when it comes to internet. So it's a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. And hopefully I provided some clarification. Definitely don't go to a 5G device. I don't think that's the issue. I definitely recommend just doing the speed tests. Dan says, the sound level meter is a little too small and I want it sharper and showing on all different windows. An idea to let it be displayed in the bottom of the time. Actually, it's a great suggestion. Me and Will actually just had this conversation right before the show happened. We agree. We think it should definitely be clear to see, maybe even like on the left side. And we also said maybe it's time for us to have that audio mute button clearly displayed on the front preview screen. That way you don't have to tap a couple buttons just to get to mute. Because I understand that muting is not a quick process, and sometimes it needs to be. So totally agree. Thank you for the suggestion, Dan. Keep those coming. We definitely listen, I promise. And they're conversations we all have as well. So by even just mentioning it in one of these chats, it's enough to kind of spark a conversation internally about things that we should review moving forward. Eric says, can you show us how to hook up an external mic to the Mevo? Actually, Eric, I could do that, but I recommend just tuning in tomorrow. We do have a live audio show at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joseph, our local audio engineer that's part of our customer experience team, he has been doing audio engineering. He's done it for TV shows, movies. He's done it for just music in general. He knows his stuff. So if the question is how to use audio, whether it's the internal audio settings, external audio, USB audio, Mevo mic app, whatever it might be, Joseph's the guy to ask, and he will be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I don't want to steal his thunder. I want to give you a reason to tune in. So make sure you check that out tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard at Mevo Camera, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Jerry says, can I add animations or pre-recorded video to my stream? You can, just not in the Mevo 2.0 app. Like I was talking about earlier, you can use your Mevo Camera with platforms like OBS, Ecamm, vMix, Wirecast, Livestream Studio, all of those things. You can use your Mevo with those, and those allow you to have animations, MP3s, MP4s. It allows you to do a lot of different stuff. That's typically how we share our screens, which we'll hopefully get to do again next Thursday when we go over multicam a little bit more in depth. So if you want to kind of see how we do it, you can absolutely do that. And if you're looking for ways to do it within the Mevo 2.0 app, unfortunately not something that we have available at this time. I can't rule out that it won't come, because I can guarantee you, those conversations I was just talking about, definitely a conversation we've had. We would love videos too. We would love graphics, animations as well. So definitely something that we've had conversations about. We're not ignoring. Definitely something we would like to visit in the future. So, but at this time, NDI, use all of those things. OBS, vMix, all of them. They have it. So if you want to take advantage of it, you can go ahead and do that with your Mevo camera. Sarah says, is there a streaming destination that works best? Does it ultimately matter? Sarah, this is probably mixed opinions from anyone you talk to. Thank you for the question. I think the best thing, like I said, everyone's got an opinion. I would recommend go where you're comfortable with, what you find reliable for your location, your destination, what fits your needs. If you're trying to go 1080p, YouTube seems to really accept 1080 a lot more than Facebook does. Facebook does take 1080, but sometimes they'll drop that down to 720. Facebook might be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to music copyright, which I don't recommend anyone using copyrighted music. I'm not saying this is a workaround. YouTube's a little bit more laxed, but they will hit you eventually. It really comes down to, what are you comfortable with? What's your end goal? Do you want to go RTMP? Do you have 1,000 subscribers? Do you have a following on YouTube? Do you have a following on Twitch? Do you have a following on Facebook? Are you good? Are you familiar with Vimeo? If not, do you want to just hit all 3 platforms at once and use Vimeo? There's a lot of things that go into it. What are you comfortable with? What's your end goal? What's your budget? There's a lot of things to take into consideration. Robert says, when you have 3 starts and want them in NDI mode, how do you control them? Do you need 3 separate devices? Yes, yes, you do. If you want to control them. However, you can also control them using the NDI Studio Monitor. We have customers that even use joysticks with NDI Studio Monitor that allows you to control basically. So I'm going to zoom in on my face here. So you can't really tell, maybe. Let's see. There we go. So you can kind of see I'm moving around a little bit. So there is a box, and you know what I'm talking about if you have a Mevo. So you can actually control that box in NDI Studio Monitor, or New Tech Studio Monitor. I think it's NDI Studio Monitor. You can control all of that. You can use a joystick, you can use a gamepad controller, whatever you want to do, you can control all three of them within Studio Monitor, and then those changes will reflect on whatever software you're using. However, you may also be interested in just using our multicam. It accepts 3 Mevos, whatever generation you want. You get graphics, you get overlays, live editing, all of that stuff. So if that's something you want, multicam's available. It's free. You can go check that out. Donnie says, is NDI or wireless webcam better? This actually goes along with the last response that I had about what platform do you want to use. It really comes down to what are you comfortable with, how complex do you want to get, and what are your network capabilities. When it comes to wireless webcam, you are going to get a lower bit rate, but you may get more stability because NDI, you can get a higher bit rate, up to 15 megabytes per second. However, I don't recommend running NDI wirelessly, which is exactly why we're not running NDI today. Because we didn't want to go wireless, we didn't want to risk it. Our Ethernet's not configured as well as we would like it to be. I highly recommend using Ethernet for NDI. But when it comes to NDI, you're 100% going to get better quality than webcam mode. NDI at 15 megabytes per second, believe it or not, is a lot crisper, or a lot crisper. It looks a lot better, I promise. And you don't really know it until you put it side by side, but we were shocked when we put it side by side. Webcam mode's a great solution. If you're streaming at 720 or 1080 and you don't need better, then stick with it. If it works for you, there's no reason to change it. But if you have a more complex network, your network supports wired NDI, then I would recommend going to NDI for 15 megabytes. You want that crisper look. It really comes down to what are you comfortable with. Like what are your end goals? That's a great question though, Craig. I mean, really, I recommend. Oh, that wasn't Craig's question, was it? Did I mess up? I deleted the question. Okay, it was a great question, but like it really comes down to what are you comfortable with? Test it, check it, and go from there. Oh, that was Donnie. So thank you so much, Donnie. I appreciate the question. But yes, great question. Are you comfortable with it? How much do you want to how much time do you want to go into configuration and setup? Do you need the crisper shot? Is there details you're trying to show? If not, you could probably get away with just webcam mode. Really comes down to what you want to do. Craig says, how can I pair my Mevo to Vimeo? It's a great question, Craig. So the question, are you specifically talking about streaming to Vimeo? Because if so, it's built into the app. Simply select Vimeo, log into your Vimeo account, and then create an event or select an already created event. If you're talking about like Livestream Studio, then there's remote. You can connect your camera to Livestream Studio via remote camera. You can connect it via NDI. You can connect it via IP. There's a lot of different ways you can connect it via Livestream Studio or Vimeo's Livestream Studio. But if you're talking about just streaming the Vimeo, it's built into the app. Just log in. Elizabeth says, if we had 2 cameras, could we have a picture-in-picture in our shot, or do we have to have different shots? Okay, so I think if you're talking about picture-in-picture, are you talking about if you want to take one camera and put it inside the other, or are you talking about like graphics? If you're talking about actually having the video within the video, right, the camera within a camera, you would absolutely need to use something like OBS or something like that. Multicam does allow you to use multiple cameras, but it doesn't allow you to use a shot within a shot. I always struggle with picture-in-picture because I always think of an actual picture within the video instead of video within a video. However, if you're looking for video within a video, you would need something like OBS, Livestream Studio to accomplish that. If you're looking for graphics, you can use Mevo Multicam and add graphics that way. Eric says, is the pinch zoom feature available yet in Multicam app? Not yet, but it is coming soon. Will even put an exclamation point under his response because that's his response. It's not mine. He means it's coming soon. He's not joking around. It's coming. I know we use soon a lot. It's kind of like a joke anymore when it comes to customers saying, soon. I tend to chuckle at it, but I promise you, and Will cannot stress this enough, soon. It's coming soon. And if you want to know when it's coming, like, subscribe, follow. And the date, I'm telling you, we're not even going to give you a date. That's the thing when it comes down to it. We're not going to give you a date, but what we will do is we will release it as soon as it's ready, that very moment. But I can assure you that we are at the point where it is so soon that we're just going to continue to say soon, because I think it's hilarious. But it's definitely coming. So thank you for the patience. Thank you for kind of like riding along with us if you've been hanging out for a while. Multicam's coming when it comes to graphics, live editing, all of it. It's coming. Jermaine says, can you use several cameras with the wireless webcam app? Actually, Will, I'm going to need your input on that. I don't use wireless that much. Can I use more than one, buddy? No, you can't. Actually, no, you're right. So no, you can't use more than one camera when you're using wireless webcam. However, you can use wired webcam, and then if you want to stick with wireless, you can absolutely use NDI and have multiple cameras that way. But at this time, when it comes to wireless webcam mode, because it goes into the same limitation that I was talking about earlier, these cameras in wireless webcam mode are considered virtual cameras. So the computer doesn't really want to accept a lot of these virtual cameras. So you kind of get limited on how you do it, which is why when it comes to wired webcam, it uses UVC, which is the universal driver for webcams or video. So by using that, you can use more than one. When it comes to virtual cameras, kind of limited on how many you can actually introduce. NDI as well, you can absolutely introduce more than one because it's not a virtual camera. It's NDI, it's its own protocol. It works its own way. Victor from YouTube says, I use OBS with Mevo and NDI on my multiple camera setup and it works great. So glad to hear it, Victor. We are currently working on configuring Streamlabs OBS on our system over here. That's what we're going to be using to show you our show. If you're into that kind of thing, we will be doing a show next Thursday. We were going to try to get it in today, but unfortunately we didn't have the time, and we were kind of running into some Ethernet issues or internet issues. Technically, it's just Ethernet. We were running into an Ethernet port issue, which needs to be addressed before we go live. It's kind of one of those things, you test, you notice, identify a problem. If you can't solve it within a time, there's no reason to stress. Have a backup ready, and that's what we did. Today was going to be a two-person show. We tested, we identified the issue, noticed that we were not going to be able to get this solved and tested again before we went live. So we settled with one camera, one-person show, and hopefully we'll be back on a Thursday show with Will and I next week. We'll go over next Thursday we'll go over multicam. We'll do screen sharing, all the really cool stuff. So you'll be able to check that out. Jeff from YouTube says, I have a start and want to add a second with OBS. Will the upload be double? One Mevo is wireless, 720. Okay, also will they sync at the same time? Live looper using the second for my pedals. Start is awesome. So glad you're enjoying Start. Not sure what live looper is. Do you know what live looper is? Curious. Okay, as far as using our double upload speed. So basically it's going to use twice the internal bandwidth, but as far as upload speed for internet, no, you're not going to use twice. And most internal networks can handle, that bit, like the bit rate and bandwidth that you need internally. As long as you have like a newer modem or router, you shouldn't run into any issues unless you set up things that prioritize one device over another. Could run into issues there. But as far as actual upload speeds, excuse me, it's raining and that stuff puts me to sleep. So if you're talking about actual upload speeds with the internet, no, your upload speeds will not be doubled by using more than one camera. Now, if you're talking about being in sync, this is going to depend. If you're using NDI, one's wireless and one's Ethernet, one's going to be a little bit more fluid than the other. The Ethernet's probably going to be a little bit ahead. Now, if you're using both the same way, both Ethernet or both Wi-Fi, they're both probably going to be about the same. Now, you can use OBS to adjust the synchronization and handle it that way. Now, if you're talking about in sync as in audio, then as long as you run the audio through the Mevo camera instead of into your computer running OBS, then you shouldn't have an issue because the Mevo is going to handle synchronization with audio and video on its own. Great question, Jeff. Definitely do a lot of testing though, right? So we did a lot of testing today. We had about 5 or 6 cameras set up. Didn't work out. Here we are, one camera. Next Thursday we'll be back, right? So definitely do a lot of testing. Noel from YouTube says, is there a trade-in for a first gen for a Mevo Start? Unfortunately, Noel, we do not offer a trade-in program. However, we are currently doing a sale right now, if you weren't here earlier for it. And the sale is $20 off both the Mevo Start and the Mevo Power Ethernet adapter. You can get those on mivo.com today until, is it the 8th? Yeah, 9th. The 9th of next month, which is May. Yeah, May 9th. You can take advantage of this deal and save $20 off. Now, if you already have a camera and you're looking for a way to earn some extra cash and you're already recommending this to users or to people who are curious what Mevo is, you can absolutely earn 5% back at the same time as saving the person you refer 5%. So you're going to save them the 5% and you're going to earn the 5% and put some money in your pocket. Especially if you're already doing this, there's no reason not to. Of course, coming from me, I'm sure that doesn't, really doesn't seem a little conflict of interest. But if you're already doing it, earn some money, right? Now, here's what's really cool about this, because I think this is commonly overlooked. A lot of affiliate programs or referral programs, if you will, a lot of them use coupon codes that are auto-generated, which just look generic. So like, for example, if we were generating these coupon codes, it'd be like, or referral codes, it'd be like Mevo user 127 or something, it'd be something generic and it's just like, meh. However, our system allows you to identify and create your own coupon code. So when you're referring people, you technically don't even have to say you're referring them. You give them the code, they use it. It could be named after your Twitch channel, your baseball league, your sports league, your YouTube channel, whatever it might be, your business, whatever it is. You can name it after that. And then as long as it's appropriate and it's approved, like, we don't really care. And you can hand that out to people. And as far as they're concerned, you're saving them 5%. You're earning 5% over something that seems extremely unique and specific to you, opposed to those generic codes. I think it's an overlooked feature or an overlooked part of the program that really kind of should be spotlighted a lot more, is that those custom coupon codes are they're unique. They're unique for you and your situation. Sam from YouTube says, how does Logitech acquisition affect your product roadmap? Okay, so it lets us work more. I mean, we have a bigger team, a faster team, so things are great. Unfortunately, can't really talk too much about Logitech and all of that. Maybe that's something we can discuss in a future show. But as it stands right now, don't really have much to talk about except, it happened. All right, let's continue to move on with that. Dan says, when I use multicam and take sound from my soundboard mixer to one of the Mevo Start line-in, can I use the sound from that unit even if the picture is from the other one? Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's what we do here. So all of our audio is right out of the camera that I'm using right now, but we've got like 5 other cameras around here that would, my audio, even if I'm sitting over at the desk over here in that set, would go to the same camera. It's not going to matter. It's going to go directly to the camera and it's going to work. That's what we always do. We have one soundboard with all of our audio sources going directly into a single camera, and we change angles, but the audio is not affected. So that's not only will it work, it's what we actually recommend. All right, Dan says, when I use multicam and take sound, okay, sorry, I already did that question. Lauren says, when we try to capture the PowerPoint outline, it comes out with all the colors of the rainbow. I'm super interested. I'm super interested in what you mean, but is the PowerPoint inside the camera? Like, are you using a graphic inside the camera that's a PowerPoint slideshow? Or are you capturing one that's on like a wall from a projector or something? Because if you're using one that's like on a wall or a projector or something like that, or a television, then turn HDR off. That's going to be the solution for that. If you're seeing this and it's a PowerPoint that you've used with Vimeo Producer, then HDR should not affect that at all. So if that's something you're seeing as an overlay within the app, then definitely open a ticket. I'm curious. I'd love to see it. If it's something you're trying to capture from a television, a wall, projector, whatever it may be, HDR is going to affect that, and you could run into refresh rates and things like that that could cause some banding issues. But definitely let us know, and we definitely like to take a look at it. If it is a graphical overlay, then that's something we need to look at. Tina says, your screen overlay that you have on the right, now either the referral, how do you do this? Sorry, I'm a newbie. No problem, Tina. I mean, this is what these shows are for. We go live 4 times a week to help people. So basically when it comes to using the overlay feature inside the app, all of the app handles all of these overlays by themselves. So you probably can't see very well. I would recommend tuning in next Thursday. We're going to do all of these things, I'm sure. But we have like this overlay feature I can do here. I've got this over the shoulder. Let's go ahead and pick the discount code. And over here, let's just get a little crazy with it, huh? Let's just get super wild. I don't have any bugs. I don't have any bugs. So basically, you go inside the app. You can create all of these really cool graphics. You can change colors, add some images, add text, as you can see. Or if you just want to design it outside and use Photoshop, that's what we do. A lot of the lower third's built within the app. But the background for our countdown, the background for the sales thing, everything is being done in Photoshop. We just upload the image. When it comes to slideshows, I use Google Slides. Use Google Slides, and then I export it as a PDF, upload it into the app, and I can go through the slideshow. So like, for example, you can see here. Let's go, oh, that's not what I want. Let's go here, let's go to the slideshow I used the other day. Cool, so these are some slides that users were, it shows them ways to protect it from the sun. But we have like all these slides, right? And I'm just pressing an arrow and I can jump through all of these things. And oh, here we go, perfect, what a time. So if you have Vimeo Producer, this is what it looks like. This is how you can select where you want the graphic to be, and you can create the graphic within the app, upload your own graphic, whatever you might want to do, but it's all done with Vimeo Producer. It's like $15 a month, usually billed annually, and it also depends on your geographic location, on how Vimeo handles the billing. However, it's all available. You can subscribe either at mivo.com/plans, and that'll take you to the location for Producer, and then you can also just do it in the app as well. Now, one thing I want to note, since you are not familiar, Tina, is ensure you're getting Producer, not Pro. It's a common misconception that Pro and Producer are the same thing, and they are not. Pro gives you no benefit when it comes to using the Mevo. You need Producer. So go to mivo.com/plans. It'll take you specifically to the two plans that are going to affect your features. Producer is going to be on the left. Premium is going to be on the right. Now, if you do it within the app, you don't have anything to worry about. You can only get Producer and Premium there. Just don't go to Vimeo.com and select a plan there because there's a chance that you may select the wrong plan and it's going to cause issues. Pro doesn't benefit you. You need Producer or Premium. Victor on YouTube says, I work in IT and started talking to my boss about moving to Mevo Starts to use for company events and stop using poor quality webcams. I like the Mevo Start, a lot of great a lot of great products. Thank you so much, Victor. Hopefully your company just jumps on that. I agree. Will actually showed a photo, if you're not part of our customer group, he actually showed a photo the other day. Will's background's in production. So he showed a desk full of just laptops, adapters, converters, capture cards, a bunch of stuff, which he can basically accomplish now with 3 cameras in the Mevo Multicam app. So, I mean, it's wild the way that the Mevo works compared to what you needed and what you still really need. You know, if you use like a DSLR, you're gonna need a capture card, you're gonna need a bunch of different things. Now you need a Mevo camera and you're off to the races. Farrah says, is there a way to use the Mevo Start with StreamYard or a Melon? Is it Melon? Melon? I always think there's a meme out there, it's Melon. All right, so you can use webcam mode, you can use NDI, both are accepted in StreamYard. So just open up the Mevo app, connect to your Mevo Start, scroll down, you can either turn on NDI mode or you can turn on webcam mode. And you can use it with StreamYard. A lot of customers use it. Holy cow. So we've been going for a hot minute and non-stop questions. I'm loving it. It looks like we've got great viewership. We're at 50 minutes. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes before we close out for the day. I want to give everyone a chance to get these questions in. Let's go ahead and get another overlay over here because I really want to make sure you guys take advantage of these sales. So I'm going to give you a chance, one, to read about sales because you can save $20 off on both products on mivo.com right now in the US-based customers. However, I'm going to give you one last chance to get these questions in before we close out the show. We're at about 50 minutes. We try to keep these around 30 to 40, so we're kind of over time already. So if you do have a question, I'm going to give you a minute or two to get those in there. I want to make sure I answer all the questions I can. And of course, you always have tomorrow's show. We will be live again at Mevo Camera. On Facebook and on YouTube. We'll be doing the audio show with Joseph. So if you don't get them in before we end today's show, throw them in the chat anyways, or just join us tomorrow and we'll answer them tomorrow. All right, so it looks like I got 1 or 2 more questions. Perfect. That's the point. That was the point of all this. I wanted to make sure, one, I wanted to get a drink in. Needed that, talking for a while. The second thing is I wanted to make sure that we get those questions in. So Eric says, is the Mevo floor or the Mevo stand still available? I can't find it anywhere. You can find the floor stand and the table stand at mivo.com today. Both are in stock, I'm quite sure, because I just started getting tickets from people saying that the table stand is back in stock and they've started to receive them again. So if you need the Mevo stand, floor and table, both at mivo.com. You can get them both EU, UK, and US-based stores. Victor on YouTube says, is the app still in beta? So the Mevo 2.0 app, the one I'm using right now, is not in beta. If you're specifically talking about the multicam beta app, then yes, I mean, it's still in the title. It's gonna be difficult for me when a multicam comes out and it's not in beta anymore to not say multicam beta app. But yes, multicam is currently in beta, but Will is continuing to ensure that we put an exclamation point behind. It is coming soon. Version 1.0 will be out in the app stores before you all know it, and you'll be getting all of the great features that we currently have locally and internally here. All right, so that wraps up today's show. 50 minutes of questions. I'm telling you, love it. These shows are great when everyone participates. It's the best shows. Informative. Everyone learns something. I get to address all of your questions. You don't have to open a ticket. I get to do it live. So if you do enjoy this, you like interacting with myself, Will, or Joseph, and you enjoy interacting with us and asking these questions and kind of just, getting a feel for what Mevo is and where we're going with it, be sure to tune in live. We go live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Mevo Camera. You can subscribe, like, follow, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. No, not Twitch. I did it again. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find us at Mevo Camera. Make sure you like, subscribe. That's where you're going to get all the announcements, especially new products, new apps, app releases, all of it. It's going to be there. So thank you all for tuning in again. Be sure to check out Joseph's show tomorrow, especially if you have audio questions. But until then, I'm Joseph Capehart from Mevo, and I will see you all tomorrow. Let me put this, I got to put this overlay up. All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone.